Welcome back to Marcie's Kitchen, and I am making Greek lentil soup with lemon and rosemary. So our first step is to grab your stock pot. You're going to have 8 cups of vegetable broth in here to start with. Now you can go about your vegetable broth in different ways. You can buy the vegetable broth in the cartons at the store. Again, I'm trying to avoid as many store-bought, pre-made processed items as possible. So I made a powder that is made out of only spices. And for every tablespoon of powder and 1 cup of water, that equals 1 cup of vegetable broth. And I will make a video on how to make this awesome vegetable broth powder. You don't ever have to worry about shelf life. So easy to use. And there's our 8 tablespoons of our vegetable broth powder. I don't have a whole lot left, so before long we'll be making that video to show you how to make that vegetable broth powder. I've got my 8 cups of water that combined with the 8 tablespoons of vegetable broth powder will equal vegetable broth. So you could either wait until the vegetable broth is hot on the stove, or you can add your onions now. I like my onions to be super soft, so I'm going to go ahead and add them now. So it's 1 yellow onion diced. I puree my onions after they're nice and hot, so there really was no reason for me to go ahead and dice them. So to save time, they're just chopped in pieces that will be relatively easy to soften up in the vegetable broth. We're going to go ahead and put that on the stove. So we're going to go ahead and get the stove going. Go ahead and put it on a medium-high heat. You can take a look at this gorgeous broth and onion mix. So now that the vegetable broth and onions are hot, you go ahead and add your salt if you've already added your onions. Now if you were waiting to add your onions until the solution was hot, now is also the time to add those. So you're going to add a ½ teaspoon of sea salt. Stir that in. Now at this point you can add your remaining ingredients if you don't care to have onion chunks in your food. I like the flavor of onion but not the consistency or texture. So I'm going to give this a little bit longer until my onions are translucent so I can puree the onions. So I'm now going to add my diced garlic as well. That's 8 garlic cloves. I also don't like them to be crunchy when I eat my soups, so I want them to be just soft enough that I can also blend them up. So just a couple of minutes. So I do try to use as many organic ingredients as possible, and one of the big things is organic garlic. If you get your garlic and the bottom is just pretty flat and level with the rest of the bulbs, it's probably not organic. So you want that messy looking bottom to the garlic. That means it's good garlic. So I get this at one of our natural health food stores in town. So my garlic and onions are soft enough now that I should be able to puree them in the blender with no problem. And that will cut out the texture issue that I don't like of garlic and onions. Now I do have some herbs that are a little bigger than I'd like to be dried. As you can see, my rosemary is pretty good sized chunks. So I'm going to go ahead and add my rosemary, my dried oregano, and my dried bay leaves. That is 2 teaspoons dried oregano and 1 teaspoon dried rosemary. I'm just going to stir that in, and then I'm going to add that to the blender, blend it, then put it back in the pot before I add my carrots. Anytime you're going to blend a hot substance, make sure not to fill it up all the way. Again, you do not have to puree your onions and garlic. That's my personal choice. So now that I have my mixture back in the pot, the garlic is pureed, the onions are pureed, I'm going to add my carrots. That's 4 carrots diced. My 4th teaspoon chili pepper flakes, whichever chili you prefer. I use the ancho chili pepper flakes. 1/2 teaspoon ground black pepper. 1/2 teaspoon sea salt. And then you'll just stir that all in. Return your heat to a medium-high heat until your carrots are as tender as you would like them. So now that my carrots are tender, I do prefer mine pretty tender, so cook them to your liking. I'll add the lentils, which is 2 cups. They're rinsed and drained. And you're going to keep that on a simmer for 15 to 20 minutes until your lentils are at the consistency that you would like. I do not like hard lentils. So after 15 to 20 minutes of our lentils being in, they're at the consistency I like. So we will add the juice of 1 lemon. I highly recommend squeezing from an actual lemon versus the lemon juice that you can get in a container that you put in your fridge. You can get about a 1/4 cup of juice out of 1 lemon. And if you use your juicer, you can get even more than that, but the juicer's kind of a pain to clean. And the zest of 1 lemon. And these were actually Myers lemons, which are just a little bit sweeter, that I got on sale at the local health food store for 79 cents a lemon. Organic. Anything that I get at the health food store is organic produce. And we just stir that all in. And there you have Greek lentil soup with lemon and rosemary. If you want more rosemary than we added in the beginning, you can also top it with minced rosemary. So there it is, Greek lentil soup with lemon and rosemary. And if you love soup with crackers or something along with your soup, I have yet to master the vegan cracker, but we made vegan crusty bread earlier, so I saved the crust of my bread to eat with my soup. Perfect.